What's up YouTube? This is Detroit Borg with two iPad 2 case reviews. Both of these cases are from Poetic and they sent these along for review. Each one have very similar traits, but they go about them in very different ways. So we're going to take a look at each one individually, and I'm going to tell you which one I prefer. Now this is the Swivel book and this is the SlimBook II. The SlimBook II is essentially a sequel to their original iPad 1 case. So let's start with the Swivel book. Now the hallmark feature of the Swivel book is this pivot point, and I'm going to show you how this works once I get the iPad 2 installed. But essentially it's a folio style case that opens up. And you can see that the back of the case is actually a hard plastic, while the rest of the case, the flap that covers the front of the iPad, is actually a softer material. This is not genuine leather, this is actually a synthetic leather. The back of the iPad 2, although hard plastic, does continue that same leather grain texture, and it's very consistent. It also has this very nice blue stitching. It looks to be very high quality. I don't see any frayed threads anywhere. The front of the cover is very soft, so it's nice and flexible. And the inside of the cover is also very well padded, so again, it adds a lot of protection. And you can see these grooves, and I'm going to show you exactly what these are used for. The inside of the cover is also covered in this nice microfiber cloth, which helps to protect the glass of the iPad 2 from both shock and grain getting stuck between the iPad 2 glass and the cover itself. The front of the cover also has this strap which you use to keep it closed. Now before I put the iPad 2, I just want to point out that this swivel point does rotate on the inside of the cover. This appears to rest below the depth of the cover, so when your iPad 2 is in the cover, you will not actually be rubbing against the iPad 2. That was my biggest fear when I saw this, but it doesn't seem to affect the iPad 2 at all. Now let's go ahead and install the iPad 2. So you just push it into the corners and you're all set. Now the great thing about this case is that it also has the magnets in the cover that work with the magnetic screen lock feature that is also available with the smart cover. Now taking a look around the case, you can see we have an opening for the headphone jack, we have room for the microphone, another opening for the sleep wake button, as well as an opening for the camera. Openings for the volume rocker and the rotation lock or mute switch, depending on how you have that configured. A very generous opening for the speaker grill and another opening for the dock connector. And of course we can use the strap to keep the cover closed. Now looking at the side, you can see there is quite a bit of padding between the case and the glass, so this provides a lot of shock protection all around. So that's what's great about this case, but of course it adds quite a bit of thickness to the iPad 2. It's a pretty sharp case, especially with the Apple logo exposed in the center, and you can see it's well protected. There's quite a bit of depth there. Now let's take a look at this swivel feature. As you can see, it rotates around. And what is this used for? Well, we're going to show you in just a minute. But as you can see, the cover allows you to prop up the iPad 2 in a number of positions. So there's actually 3 positions, but really the only 2 positions that work are the first position back here and the second position right here. So again, put it back there, it holds up pretty well. Put it down here, holds up pretty well. But if I put it down here, it just falls flat. Unfortunately, with this case, there really isn't a typing position. This is too vertical. The typing position would be the third slot or forward slot, but unfortunately, it just doesn't hold up. So really, the typing position is too flat. Now with this swivel feature, this allows us to change the orientation of the iPad 2. So if we want to view it in vertical mode, we can do so. And again, we have these 3 slots, but really only 2 of them work. The back one does not work. In fact, it'll just fall back. So I'm going to let it fall back so you guys know what I'm talking about. But the middle position works just fine, as does the forward position. Almost. Try again. There you go. So really the middle position is best. Now the great thing about this case design is that if you like screen protectors, this does not cover any of the glass, so it shouldn't impact the performance of your screen protector. It shouldn't bubble it up or peel it off at all. So that's something to consider if you want to buy a case. Now let's take a look at the SlimBook II case, and as the name suggests, this is a very low profile case, adds very low bulk to the iPad 2, certainly less bulk than the swivel case. I'm actually a very big fan of this case. It's also genuine leather and the design is very similar to that of the original iPad case. So if you always wanted the original iPad case design for your iPad 2, this is definitely a case to look at. If we take a very close look at the case, you can see we have cutouts for the speaker grills down here. They're actually perforations, and they do impact the sound just a little bit, so it does muffle the sound just slightly. It's really hard for me to demonstrate it on the camera. I've tried and it doesn't really come through, but it does have a very small effect. We also have a cutout for the 30-pin dock. There is plenty of room there. We have a cutout for the volume rocker and the physical switch, as well as for the camera and the lock key. We also have a cutout for the headphone jack. Back here you have the clasp, which everybody will recognize from the original iPad case. This basically pins the cover back. On the front we have the Poetic logo embossed on the front. Now if we open it, again, the design is very similar to the original iPad case, so we have this nice felt liner, so it's very soft. The cover has a stiff board in it, and you can see there is a folding point right here. The black leather actually surrounds the iPad 2's bezel just a little bit, and you have the little flap here which you use to basically hold the iPad 2 in. Now the inside of the flap also has that same felt material which does a good job protecting the glass of the iPad 2. Again, this is all the way around. So let's go ahead and install the iPad 2. So you just tuck the flap in just like you are used to with the original iPad case, and there you go. Now when you close it, you can see there are magnets again in this cover which turn the iPad on and off. So just like the swivel case, this works the same. And if we look around, you can see we have very little bulk added to the iPad 2. Again, this is a very minimal case. Doesn't add, I guess, a lot of shock protection, but you can see this extra material here adds a lot of impact protection on the side of the iPad 2. It's very stiff, so it's definitely, I think it's going to do the trick. I'm not going to drop this from very high distances, at least I hope I won't. So it should be protected. We also have a very good cutout for the headphone jack. It seems to work with all my headphones. We also have a very small pinhole cutout for the microphone. It doesn't seem to affect the performance of the microphone either. We also have a cutout for the sleep-wake button, and again, there's plenty of room there. Plenty of room around the camera. It does not impact the performance, and plenty of room around the physical keys over here, the volume rocker and the rotation or mute switch. And we also have plenty of room here for the 30-pin dock. There is plenty of room here for all types of dock connectors. Now, looking at the inside, you can see it provides a lot of protection for the faceplate. So if you land this or put this flat on the table, it does have something of a lay-on-table design. There's also plenty of room for the home key down here, as well as the FaceTime camera up here. Just like the original case, you just fold the cover back to prop it up. So we have the typing mode right here. Works very good. And we also have the landscape position. So if we prop it up here and we just stick a keyboard in front of it, we have a desktop iPad. Overall, I'm very enthusiastic about these cases, more so on the SlimBook II. This is definitely the one I recommend. It's very low profile, adds a lot of protection. It's very high quality, very nice leather grain, has all the features you need, performs very well, does its job, and it's a bargain. It's only $29.95. It's normally listed for $79.95. It's listed as on sale right now. I'm not sure if that's going to stay that way, but that's a very good value. And the Swivel book, although I'm not a huge fan of it, I can't recommend it, but if you like its features, it's definitely something to look into, and it's only $20 or $19.95. So again, a very good deal. Both are very high quality products. I definitely can recommend these. So take a look at it and see if this works for you. Once again, guys, this is Detroit Borg with a look at Poetic's iPad 2 cases. Thanks for watching.